all, my name is Nikki. Welcome to my writing channel and to 2022. I have been doing AuthorTube for about a year and a half now, but I've realized that I haven't officially introduced myself since way back when, in the old days when I had long hair and no idea what I was doing. But things have changed. I have short hair now, and I figured it's a new year, a blank slate, a fresh start. What better time to redo my AuthorTube newbie tag than right now? So hello. Again, I am Nikki, writer, chronic daydreamer, hermit-level introvert, but very good at faking it, and so passionate about a good, powerful story that sometimes it almost physically hurts. I kid you not. I've been writing stories essentially ever since I learned how, but in the past 10 years or so, I've really taken to writing as like a serious pursuit, something that I would really love to spend my life doing, if that is the Lord's will for my life. My first major project was a mermaid fantasy. My most major project was an ongoing epic fantasy that will hopefully be 9 books long. And my most personal project is a YA contemporary that I poured a lot of myself into. I would love to write a young adult series based on a certain monochromatic board game. I must write a Peter Pan retelling at some point in my life before I die. And I don't think I'm devious enough to ever write a heist novel, as much as I'd like to. Sigh. I started this channel what feels like forever ago to promote a book that I wrote and published years ago in grade school. It wasn't great, but it was a maiden voyage into the whole publishing world and the publishing experience, and I learned a lot from it. God used that whole experience to teach me a lot about the kind of writer that I want to be and the kind of path to achieving that goal that I think would work best for me. Eventually, even though I had poured a lot of time and effort into that story, I realized that I could do better. It was a decent story, and again, I'm so thankful for all the growing that I could do as a writer as I wrote it and published it, learned how to promote it. But at the end of the day, the writing process and the publishing process cannot be rushed, and that may be one of the biggest lessons that I learned from that whole experience. So what did I do? I stopped the presses, I went back to the drawing board, and I decided to dedicate this channel to documenting my writer journey and also to encouraging you in yours. That said, I know that sometimes the best encouragement comes from hearing all about other people's mistakes, and I've got you. If you would like to hear all about my semi-disastrous but mostly God-sent publishing fiasco, you can watch that video right here and hear all about it. I will put the link to that video in the description below, and I will also put the link to part 2 of that video in the description below, so it is easy for you to find. Enjoy. Moving on, let's see how many AuthorTube newbie tag points I can hit in the next few minutes. I discovered AuthorTube through a writer friend of mine a couple summers ago who really recommended that I do it. It took a lot of convincing. I was very nervous about this at first, but over time I found it to be a really great platform for encouragement, but also just for holding myself accountable in my writing. I typically write fantasy and the odd contemporary for young adult audiences, mostly because that's what I am. Like a typical young adult / new adult, I'm a little bit lackadaisical when it comes to scheduling my writing time. So when do I write? Well, I could pretend that I'm Brandon Sanderson and say that I write for 14 hours a day and only take 2 hours a day off to spend with my family. But the more accurate answer would be whenever I can, which is usually late at night when the house is dark and my mind is just coming awake. Yes, I am a major night owl. I'm also a plotter, 135%. Pantsing or flying by the seat of my pants when I write just does not work for me. Typically, if I hit a block while I'm writing a story, what I need to do is go back to the outline and work on rewriting that before I can move forward with my draft. I do most of my actual writing when I'm working on drafts on the computer, but most of my planning on paper, so it's like an interesting blend of both. I do have a couple of typewriters as well, Mr. Underwood, and I also have a Remington, and they bring me no end of geeky writer joy. Also, to those of you who actually write entire drafts on paper by hand, respect. I'm typically a past tense gal when it comes to fantasy, but I really love the present tense as well, especially in contemporary writing. I usually write in third person point of view, but I've also experimented with second and first is actually growing on me. I used to read basically just young adult books, and I still do love me a really well-written young adult book, but I'm finding that I'm sort of moving away from that in my reading and in my writing. I'm enjoying the flexibility that comes with writing for a bit of an older audience that has like a longer attention span and doesn't require quite as much angsty teen romance. Dream publishing company, probably one of the big five if I have to pick one off of the top of my head. To be honest, that's not something that I've put a lot of thought into because I'm just trying to put all that in God's hands. I don't know what would be best for me, a big publishing company, a little publishing company, self-publishing, maybe just writing for myself. That is something that I'm really trying to just trust to God. The journey is in His hands and I'm trying to enjoy the ride. Even though I have tried it once with not so great results, self-publishing is still very much on the table for me, especially with the new knowledge and experience that I have with it. I'm sort of just waiting to see what will happen, and in the meantime, working on honing my craft as much as I possibly can. If I had to pick a writer that inspires me the most, at this point in my life, I would probably say Brandon Sanderson, not only because his stuff is just so epic, but because I love his style, I admire his writing process, and because I feel like his work oftentimes captures the exact vibe that I've been trying to capture in my own writing, that sort of epic, cinematic flavor in writing. In another category though, I would probably say C.S. Lewis, because Narnia, and also all of his other stuff. I mean, the man was an absolute genius. And while we're talking about things that inspire me, the Stormlight Archive, the Chronicles of Narnia, Lord of the Rings, leather-bound classics you find in used bookstores, candles scented for characters, hardcovers with pristine dust jackets, Peter Pan! I do not joke about Peter Pan. And finally, the author and finisher who inspires me more than anything else in the entire world, Jesus! So what to expect from this channel? Definitely some of that. My faith is the most important part of my life, and it's kind of the beating heart at the center of everything that I am writing and everything that I hope to write ever. Also, I've just found that there is so much encouragement to be found in God, especially as a writer or as a creative. Who better than your creator to help you create what you were created to create? And all credit for that goes to my friend Charlotte and her blog Created to Create. If you need encouragement in your writer journey, definitely go check out that website. It is awesome. I will put her link in the description below as well. What else? Obviously on this channel you'll find a lot of me being a geek, but you will also find glimpses into my writer journey, potential sneak peeks of my projects, both old and new, maybe some book reviews, definitely a lot of NaNoWriMo, my bookish likes and dislikes, writer tips that I've learned from my own work and also just from other really talented writers that inspire me, writing vlogs, writing goals, the ups and downs of my journey, and potentially even some live writing sprints. And I'm always open to your ideas, so feel free to drop your suggestions in the comments below. I would love to look at them and take in all your marvelous, brilliant creativity and potentially bring some of your ideas to the channel. Now, what am I looking forward to on AuthorTube? In a word, growing. Growing in my craft, growing in my courage, just becoming as authentic as I could possibly be so I can best encourage you and best glorify Christ through this platform. I'm really thankful for the growing that I've already been able to do ever since I started this channel and even before then. And I'm thankful to all the people who pushed me to do this, even when I would rather just stay in my hermitage, hiding from social interaction and from the scary world of social media. It's actually not that scary. I mean, it is still a bit scary. But what I have learned as a major introvert and a writer is that gone are the days when we can just write stories and hand them off to someone else to publish and bring into the world. Platform building, engaging with people, building up a community is now sort of a part of being an author. And as much as that's kind of scary and yucky, it can also be really fun if we embrace it. I'm getting a little taste of that. I want to really embrace that more and more as time goes on and be braver and more authentic as I connect with you, the awesome writer community. And that's why we need to support each other in the writer community. We are the only people that really truly understand each other and what we're trying to accomplish. So I would love to support you. I would love it if you would support me. And let's just help each other get where we're trying to go. I am so glad you found me. I'm so glad you found this channel, and thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and all the stuff to come in the coming year. Feel free to like and subscribe and comment your thoughts. You can find me on Instagram at NikkiFlorica or on my blog at www.nikkiflorica.com. Lord willing, one of my newsletter subscribers in the coming months will receive a little prize from me this winter, so if you sign up right now, you could be the lucky winner. But if you missed that boat, no worries. Signing up for the newsletter will still get you a little hello from me and encouragement and potentially some cool opportunities every few months. no spam, but I would love to have you on the team, just saying. Welcome again to my writing channel. Happy New Year, happy writing, and do not forget to spend some time with your head in the clouds today.